Hello, truth seekers. This is Chris, and here's our daily video discussing alcoholism. The conversation today will be the alcoholic's annual budget, what your addiction truly costs. Can we start with some scripture? For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost? Luke 14:28. Do you know how much, as an alcoholic, we spend on our cravings? The true amount is staggering, but I want to begin this as part of a three-part conversation on the economics of alcoholism. Today's focus for part one will be the annual budget. What are we really spending now, and what did we spend in the past? Part two, we're going to discuss who profits from the amount of money that is spent. And in part three, we're going to talk about the hidden costs associated with our drinking. Listen, Americans' alcoholism is a huge business. This is an industry that strictly from an economic point of view is devastating to the individual who crosses over the line from a part-time drinker to a full-time drinker to a raging alcoholic. Our system, as we talked about yesterday, is set up to encourage this, whether it be endless holidays, Taco Tuesdays, Happy Hour Fridays, Get Shit-Faced Saturdays. Our American civilization encourages drinking. But let me personalize this a little bit and why this is on my mind. I was doing our weekly shopping at Winco, our grocery store, and happened to walk down the beer aisle. Oh my goodness. The cost of beer today, Pabst Blue Ribbon, $24 a case. Coors Light, 30, 32 a case. Modelo, almost $40 for a case of beer. I can remember a time it was way less than that. We could get cases of beer in college for $10. Not anymore, not anywhere close. This isn't even taking into account the costs at bars and for decent beer. It's not just the grocery stores. We went to Costco earlier in the week. Oh my goodness, you would think you're getting a good deal at Costco. No, we pay out of the nose for the cheapest form of beer, which is that we buy at our stores, not what we pay for at restaurants or bars. I just want to look at some of the cold, hard facts here. And I have it on your screen right now if you want to. This is also on my blog, gratefultruths.com, if you really want to go through these numbers. The first chart here is the beer drinkers budget for 2024. The average price of beer, as we talked about, for a case, $24. For a gas station six-pack, $12. For craft IPAs, about $16 for a six-pack. And if you want to get a draft beer at a bar, we're putting on there about $6 a beer. What this costs for you for a week, what this costs for you for a month, and then what this is annualized. Just to buy a case of beer, you're spending pretty much almost $2,500 a year just to get beer. It's not any better if you drink wine. So here we have the wine budget broken down for 2024. If you're a box wine drinker, $18 for a box. If you're a cheap bottle drinker, $6. Mid-range bottle, $15. And a glass of wine at a restaurant, yep, $12. Annualized cost, not much better than beer. It's slightly cheaper to be a wine drinker. $1,700 to $2,000 a year just to fulfill your cravings. The minimal annual cost, $2,000, $1,700. Average annual cost, $5,000 to $8,000 a year. I'm terming that as a functional alcoholic, but it can get much worse. This doesn't cost about your high-end costs. You're going to restaurants and bars, going on vacation, all the drinking you might do on vacation. Let's look at it from an inflation point of view. Like I mentioned, there was once a day where you could get a case of beer for $9. Those days are so much over. Let's just say it's $24 now. That's a 167% increase over 30 years. Wine, it calculates out to be exactly the same. How much have your wages gone up? I'm being kind here. I'm pulling some numbers from CPI reports. Median income rose 85%, while alcohol prices rose 150 to 200. What does that mean, bottom line? Alcohol is 2 to 3 times more expensive relative to your income gains than it was 30 years ago. What could you do with $5,000 a year? Oh boy, that's an individual question. You could pay off a credit card in 18 months. Most people are carrying, I don't know, $10,000 to $20,000 on their cards. Fund a family vacation to Europe. Buy a used car outright. You could probably cover 6 months worth of rent. That might be a little high, but yeah, maybe in some Mississippi or Tennessee, not Nevada. I just, and I have to laugh at this because I'm laughing at myself. I'm laughing at myself. What's an average yearly salary? About $40,000. So we're spending 20% of our yearly gross sale on alcohol to maintain our addiction. Again, I would argue this is by design. I'm not even including the hard liquor in this conversation, which can be far more expensive than the beer and the wine. I truly want people to understand, including myself. I talked about this in the book Grateful Truths. I discussed in detail some economic impacts that our alcoholic addiction has on us. Can this improve? Can we make this better? Or do we ever think that the cost of alcohol is going to go down? Oh my gosh, no. I don't see the cost ever going down. I see it continuing to rise, outpacing inflation and definitely outpacing whatever small wage gains you're making. What I want to get across to everyone in this part 1 section is alcohol has so many detrimental effects on yourself and your relationship and your marriage and everyone around you. And point blank, just paying for it is stressful enough. So you should take that into account. As you start to come up with a truce between being completely sober and drinking heavily, take into account what it's going to cost you every month. Put it in your monthly budget and be realistic about it. Don't just say, I'm going to spend a little bit at the bar every Friday. That's not my experience. My experience is I have beer waiting for me in the fridge. My experience is I don't go to the bar just once a month. And that may be very well your experience. So budget appropriately for your alcohol use. And you'll see that as you're trying to moderate your drinking, it's incredibly smart to drink less so that you can actually have some money left over at the end of the month. Thank you so much for listening and viewing. Have a great day.